Today, we're talking about South Korea finally banning the sale and trade of dog meat in the country. 70 million Americans are in the path of severe weather this week, and now the hotel in Fort Worth that blew up yesterday is now under investigation to figure out exactly what happened. So first, as you guys know, people have been talking about how dog meat has been sold in Asian countries and consumed for years now, and South Korea has finally stepped up to the plate and said that they are now outlawing the sale and trade of dog meat, and it must be finished by 2027. Dog meat stew is considered a delicacy in South Korea, but the meat has fallen out of favor with diners and is no longer popular with young people. Under the new law, consuming dog meat itself will not be illegal, but the sale and purchase of it in the country will be. A 22-year-old student in South Korea said that the main reason that people are not consuming dog meat anymore is that dogs have become a very popular pet to have, and people do not feel right consuming dogs. According to the government statistics, South Korea had around 1,600 dog meat restaurants and 1,150 dog farms in 2023, all of which will now have to submit a plan to phase out their business to their local authorities. The government has promised to fully support dog meat shops, owners, and butchers whose business will be forced to close, though the details of what compensation will be offered have yet to be worked through. An 86-year-old man who has been consuming dog meat for much longer than the rest of the population said that he is upset by the ban and said that since we've been eating this since the Middle Ages, why stop us from eating our traditional food? If you ban dog meat, then you should ban beef. If you guys remember just this past weekend when the Northeast was battered by snow, now Monday and Tuesday, a severe storm has pushed across Texas all the way up into North Carolina and has caused severe damage to power lines, houses, and tornadoes everywhere. Not only is the Southeast being hammered by tornadoes, wind, lightning, and everything else, there's also another storm forming in the middle of the country that is planning to push across the East Coast as well. The latest system is expected to rapidly strengthen into an exceptionally powerful January storm and cause widespread, significant effects east of the Rocky Mountains beginning next Monday. Widespread snowfall accumulations of at least 6 inches are expected from northern New Mexico to the upper peninsula of Michigan. Heavy snow and strong winds will create blizzard conditions Sunday as the storm exits Arizona and heads to Texas and Oklahoma Sunday night, and blizzard warnings are already hoisted in Colorado, New Mexico, and many other places. As you can see from these pictures and videos here, complete houses and communities were destroyed in Alabama and Florida from this storm overnight. The scariest part about all this was that it was happening in the dead of night, so you couldn't really see anything coming. And as of this morning, there are still tornadoes forming in North Carolina. Yesterday, one of the biggest stories in the country was a hotel in Fort Worth randomly exploded and sent people to the hospital with over 11 people injured, and now that number has risen to 21. Rescuers are still sifting through the rubble of a historic Texas hotel to try and find anyone who might still be trapped inside over 24 hours since that gas explosion happened. This is considered an actual immediate hot zone, the Fort Worth Police Department said. We're asking the community to stay away from this area. And as you guys can see from this rubble right here, it is an insane explosion. Originally, we thought it was maybe just a little tiny explosion, but this has completely blown up this building from the basement. At least 21 people were injured by the blast, including one person who was critically injured, 4 were seriously injured, and many others were partially injured. No updates on their conditions were available today on Tuesday, and no one was found inside the rubble Tuesday morning. Experts believe that it actually occurred from the restaurant in the basement, and there's been reports that that basement has now been flattened because of this explosion. Many people thought this was a planned attack, and then as the news came out that it was in fact a gas explosion, it did put many people at ease, but still a terrifying thing to think about that you could just be walking down the street when this would have happened. A man named Bob found the Alaskan Airlines plane door in his backyard along with other cell phones found around the state that had fallen out of the Alaskan Airlines flight that basically imploded the other day. So if you don't remember, an Alaskan Airlines flight just a few days ago left Portland, Oregon on its way to Ontario, California, when a fake door on the side of it that is there for other reasons completely blew off, sucking phones out of the door, as well as one person's entire t-shirt. Well, as people went searching yesterday, they actually found 2 phones, one of them still working with the Alaskan Airlines flight confirmation on the screen. As they were looking for the door, a random man named Bob Sauer actually found the door in his backyard. Bob is a science teacher from Portland, Oregon, who teaches physics, chemistry, astronomy, biology, and general sciences. They actually had him on Good Morning America Tuesday. He said, "I heard about the incident on Friday when it happened, and I've been listening to the news all weekend, but I hadn't realized that the debris was in the neighborhood, so I hadn't been paying much attention at all." A friend of mine called me and said, "You should probably check your backyard because they're still looking for the door." And so I thought about that for a while, and once I finished my work for the day, I came out to look for it, and that's where it was. When I encountered it, it was really just disbelief. It was very hard to understand that what everybody was looking for in Portland was actually in my backyard, and I was the first one to see it. As he went back to school, it was a complete madhouse. Everyone coming to ask him about how he found the door and just asking him questions about his backyard in general. He said he really didn't get much teaching done Monday, and now he's basically become a national superstar because he found this door in his backyard. The man that went viral just a few days ago for jumping over a judge's desk to give her a hug has now been brought back into the courtroom, and this time his hands and face are covered like a caged animal because of the attack that he brought out on that judge a few days ago. 5 days after Deborah Redding leaped over the bench to attack a Las Vegas judge, he stood before the same woman, only this time the 30-year-old's wrists were chained to his body while court officers stood on each side of him so he could not run away and attack the judge again. With added security, Redding's sentence hearing resumed Monday, and the judge, Mary Kay Holthus, sentenced Redding to 19 to 48 months in prison on a previous charge of attempted battery with substantial bodily harm. Redding now faces 13 new charges on top of that possible 4-year sentence. Any other issues that may arise from the events that occurred last Wednesday will be handled at a future date by a different court and a different judge, as to the judge that was attacked could not be impartial. For purposes of the record, I want to make it clear that I am not changing or modifying the sentence I was in process of imposing last week before I was interrupted by the defendant's actions. As you guys can see here, he actually leaped across the desk and attacked the judge with the flags falling down on him, and then the actual bailiffs trying to restrain him. And when they actually got him away, he went back to attack the judge some more. Now, this video went viral online. It has over 105 million views, I think, just on YouTube. TikTok has way more, but we're still unclear as to why he thought attacking the judge would get a lower 4-year sentence, because now with his 13 extra charges, especially on a government official, he's probably looking at multiple years more to come. Well, guys, that's all we have for you today. Please let me know anything you thought interesting about any of these stories down in the comments, and be sure to come back tomorrow for another episode of the news.